want to get one more thought out there as we move forward into another glorious weekend of college football around the LSU Tigers. Because I've seen a lot of things said about the Bayou Bengals, man. A lot said about Brian Kelly, a lot said about what they haven't done offensively, and I get it. I understand where it comes from. Yeah, as someone who picked them to win the national championship, I'd love if we could score more than 23 points against Louisiana Tech. All right? But I see some people that do rankings that have them outside the top 5, have them out lower in their top 10 than outside the top 5. Like, I think a lot of people are seeing the Florida game and penalizing LSU for what they haven't done offensively. Now, I'm not going to give you the Brian Kelly treatment and tell you you're spoiled. That's not what I'm in the business of doing right now. But I do think it's important now when you talk about what LSU hasn't done offensively to add some context. Because the Louisiana Tech game aside, I think you could probably assign, at least I think you could assign kind of a look-ahead spot and letdown spot there with post-Clemson, look ahead to Florida. I digress. Maybe I'm making excuses. But the 2 games where LSU has been less than awesome offensively against Power 4 opponents. Against Clemson, scored 17, and against Florida, they scored 20. Those are against 2 defenses with, say what you want about those teams in general, those defenses are awesome. Like we say it all the time with Clemson. They probably have 2+ first-round picks on that defense, 2 on the D-line, maybe a 3rd in the secondary. I don't know. Florida, say what you want about them. They've allowed 2-3 touchdowns offensively the entire year. Okay, it's not like they're just out to lunch on the defensive side. Now, DJ Lagway's got problems, and LSU exposed that, but it wasn't like LSU is just out there playing against subpar competition and they're averaging what they're averaging. LSU, I think, is still an offense that is at some point in time going to wake up, going to be a problem, and you're going to have to deal with them, and it's going to be a reason why LSU is awesome down the stretch. I'd be more worried about LSU. I can get behind more of this LSU slander if I hadn't already seen it from Garrett Nussmeier. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hadn't seen it from Gunnar Stockton really before the Tennessee game. I hadn't seen it from Arch Manning as a true starting quarterback in college football before going into this year. Saw it in spurts. Like, I'm not putting too much stock in the Mississippi State game. I've seen it from Garrett Nussmeier. Excuse me. I've seen it from Nussmeier over the course of an entire season in the SEC. I saw him lead an offense that averaged 30 points a game with no running game. Seen him throw for 4,000 yards in a season. So I understand the concern around the offense and how they've operated and how they haven't gotten to the end zone as much as they want to. But I don't think it's fair to be like, oh, can LSU score points? Yeah, they can score points. You lost pieces on the offensive line. But is that going to be the reason why they don't have success this year offensively when it comes to the overall points per game being just drastically lower? Hasn't been the problem against Clemson from my estimation, and that's a really good defensive line. I don't think it was the problem against Florida. Ran the ball well enough to win the game, according to Brian Kelly, and I think he's right on that. So, with where I sit being as high as I am on LSU, the first couple weeks happen, and Caden Smith and I do a segment on this very platform, 25 questions for the top 25 teams in college football, 1 question per team. And whether it was this week or last week, my memory is fuzzy on that. Caden asked me something about, like, hey, LSU looking a little bit suspect offensively, which is a very fair question. It says, how do you feel about the Tigers with you having picked them preseason to win the national championship? And I got to be honest with y'all, the longer I sit with my LSU pick, even looking at these games, I feel better about LSU. I do, and maybe that sounds crazy. Maybe this is me being an LSU homer by way of picking them, but honestly, man, like, I'll take the fighter that can win by knockout or can win by split decision or can win by a wrestling match where they choke you out on the ground. Like, I think LSU is proving now that if it gets to be a rock fight and it's ugly, defense can handle it. Defense can go win a game for you. That wasn't true a year ago. The concern going into the year was, well, hey, is there enough offensively here to run the football and all that, but, like, can the defense hold it down? That was the question. Question was never, is Garrett Nussmeier good enough? Are these weapons good enough to score points? Or Joe Sloan and Garrett Nussmeier good enough co-workers to go elevate LSU offense? That was never the question. So I'm very okay with how LSU's won games early. It's September. If we get to October and we're seeing more of the same, maybe I'll change my tune. But right now I see a team that can win multiple ways, and the LSU slander to me I think is a little bit misplaced, knowing what we know about them with what they have at the quarterback position. So let's all calm down to LSU. The concern, I get where it's coming from. I just think it's a little bit knee-jerky. Don't think it's warranted. I'm still all in on the Tigers, and I don't apologize 1 second for that.